There is no public national criminal record search. It simply does not exist. That single misconception is why most background checks miss the exact conviction you are looking for. Records live in separate county courts, state systems, and federal databases that never talk to each other. In the next few minutes, you will learn the exact sequence professionals use to find what free name searches always miss. A sloppy criminal records check is worse than skipping one entirely. Skip it and you know you don't know. Run it badly, and you walk away convinced someone is clean when they are not. That false confidence is what gets journalists sued, landlords burned, and hiring managers fired. Here is a concrete miss. A candidate has a federal wire fraud conviction sitting in Pacer, but your county-level background tool never touches federal court records. You greenlight the hire. 6 months later, a reporter finds it in 10 minutes. The record existed the whole time. You search the wrong system. Criminal records do not follow people across state lines automatically. Someone charged in Nevada who moves to Arizona leaves a record that Arizona's court portal will never surface. Check only where they live now, and you miss everything they did before they got there. Every background decision is a statement. You are telling a newsroom, a tenant board, or an employer that this person checks out. Miss the federal docket, the neighboring state, or the sealed but visible civil case, and you are vouching for a record you never actually read. This is where most investigations go wrong. The real issue is not whether to search. It is how to search in a way that covers federal, state, and county layers without leaving gaps. That is exactly what we are building next, step by step, starting with the free public sources most investigators skip. Criminal records are official documents detailing a person's interactions with the justice system. They typically include arrests, charges, convictions, and sometimes dismissals. Many of these records are now accessible online through government databases, court websites, and third-party services, opening up background checks from virtually anywhere. Online criminal record lookups have become essential for employers, landlords, and anyone seeking peace of mind. Whether you are vetting a hire, verifying a tenant, or researching your own past, online access delivers speed and convenience. Knowing what these records contain and how to read them is the first step toward informed decisions. Here is the truth most search tutorials skip. A person's criminal history in the United States does not live in one file. It lives across 3 disconnected systems: law enforcement, courts, and corrections. Each one is built by a different agency, for a different purpose, with its own rules for public access. The FBI does maintain unified indexes. The National Crime Information Center and the Interstate Identification Index can pull a nationwide picture in seconds. But those systems are locked to law enforcement and authorized agencies. No private citizen, no journalist, no commercial site can legally query them. If a product claims otherwise, it is lying. Here is the part most people skip. Picture a subject arrested in Miami-Dade County. The sheriff books him. That creates an arrest record. The state attorney files charges in Florida Circuit Court. That creates a court record. He is sentenced to state prison. That creates a corrections record with the Florida Department of Corrections. One pipeline, 3 agencies, 3 separate databases you must query individually. This is where most people get burned. They pay $30 for a so-called national background check and assume it taps a federal master file. It does not. Those sites scrape a patchwork of county court postings, old arrest aggregators, and stale corrections data. Coverage gaps are routine. Sealed cases slip through. Entire states go missing. Except the structure and the method gets clearer. You are not running one query. You are running 3 in a deliberate order against the right custodians. So the real question becomes where a serious search should begin, and Chapter 2 answers exactly that. The starting point surprises people. It is the state level, not the federal level. Statewide court portals are the single most productive place to pull a subject's criminal history online. They index the filings, the charges, the pleas, and the final dispositions from every county that reports up. For most investigations, this one layer resolves 70% of the question. A state portal reliably surfaces the case number, charges filed, plea entered, disposition, and sentence handed down. That is a complete paper trail for any conviction that ran through that state's court system. But understand the limits. These portals rarely show dismissed arrests, sealed or expunged cases, or anything outside that state's borders. Public Record Hub maintains a state-by-state directory of official portals and notes exactly what each one indexes, saving hours of guessing. One distinction matters before the next step. Portals demand exact name matching, and that is where most searches quietly fail. Consider a real example. Searching Michael J. Smith in Georgia's portal returns nothing. The investigator closes the tab and moves on. Run Michael James Smith, spelled out in full, and a 2019 felony theft case surfaces immediately. Same person, different indexing. One keystroke separated a clean record from a felony conviction. Build a name matrix before you search. Full legal name. Middle initial only. Middle name spelled out. Maiden names, known aliases, hyphenated variants. Then run that matrix through every state where the subject has lived, worked, or been arrested. A decade of adult life can easily span 4 states. Running one name in one state and calling the subject clean is the single most common failure in amateur background checks. Worked systematically, state portals will close most of your cases. But one category of defendant slips right past them. Their charges never touch a state courthouse. Their files sit in a completely different system, under a completely different jurisdiction. That is where we go next. Some defendants never see the inside of a state court. Federal crimes live in a separate system entirely. Wire fraud, drug trafficking across state lines, firearms violations, tax evasion, securities fraud. None of these surface in Florida's clerk portal or Georgia's case search. If a U.S. attorney prosecuted your subject, the county level will never show it. The answer is PACER, Public Access to Court Electronic Records. Go to PCL. US Courts. Gov. That is the PACER case locator, and it searches all 94 federal districts at once. Filter by party name, then narrow to criminal cases. Registration is free. The system charges 10 cents per page, capped at $3 per document, and if quarterly usage stays under $30, the fee is waived. Most investigators pay nothing. Once you locate a case, pull 4 specific documents. The indictment, which lists every charged count. The plea agreement, which often contains signed factual admissions straight from the defendant. The sentencing memorandum, where prosecutors detail the harm, the amounts, the victims. And the judgment, confirming the final sentence imposed. These 4 filings tell you more than any news article ever will. Here is how this plays out. A subject runs clean across Florida, New York, and New Jersey. Nothing. Then you query PACER. Eastern District of New York, 2021, wire fraud defendant. The plea agreement is right there, signed, admitting to roughly $2 million in investor losses. That single 10-cent page rewrites the entire background check. State search said clean. Federal record said convicted felon. The biggest mistake here is skipping PACER because it costs money. Investigators see the 10-cent meter and back out, and miss the exact federal conviction the investigation was meant to find. $3 of searches can prevent a 6-figure liability. Courts capture charges and convictions, but some offenses keep generating public records long after sentencing ends. Court portals cover charges and convictions. They miss 2 things that matter for a complete picture: who is required to register as a sex offender and who is sitting in a prison cell right now. 2 supplementary databases fill those gaps. Skip them, and your background check has holes you will never see. Start with NSOPWA.gov. The National Sex Offender Public Website queries every state registry at once from a single search box. One name, one click, 50 states plus territories and tribal jurisdictions. Results return the subject's photograph, registered address, date of birth, and the qualifying offense. No other free tool aggregates registry data this broadly. Most guides stop there. This one keeps going. Pull up the State Department of Corrections Inmate Locator. Every state runs one. A court record shows a sentence was ordered. The doc locator shows whether that sentence was actually served, whether the subject remains in custody, and whether they are currently on parole or post-release supervision. It also publishes booking photos and physical descriptors the court file never includes. Picture this. Your court portal returns a 2015 felony conviction under the name Michael Johnson. 4 Michael Johnsons live in that county. You need to know which one is your subject. Pull the doc locator. The inmate record shows a booking photo, a date of birth, and a height and weight. Match those against what you already know, and the ambiguous hit becomes a confirmed hit in under a minute. One warning before moving on. A clean hit on NSOPWA.gov does not mean your subject has no criminal history. Registries list only qualifying sex offenses. Assault, fraud, drug trafficking, homicide, none of it appears there. Treat the registry as a supplement, never a substitute. Knowing the sources is only half the job. The other half is running them in the right order. A defensible criminal record check follows a fixed sequence every single time. Identify every jurisdiction the subject has lived in over the past 10 years. Run each state court portal in those jurisdictions. Run PACER nationally for federal cases. Check NSOPWA.gov for sex offender registrations. Then hit the State Department of Corrections locator for active or recent incarceration. Skip a step and your report has a hole a lawyer will find. Aggregator platforms scrape data once and rarely refresh it. Their databases carry expunged records the court has already sealed, misattributed matches from people with similar names, and stale dispositions showing charges dismissed years ago. Treat an aggregator result as a lead, never as proof. Every hit must be verified against the primary court portal in the county, where the case was filed before it counts as a finding in your report. Here is how this fails in the real world. An employer pays $20 for an aggregator report. It flags a felony conviction on the candidate. The offer gets rescinded, but the county court portal shows that exact charge was dismissed in 2018 and expunged the following year. The employer just rejected a hire based on a record that legally does not exist and exposed themselves to a Fair Credit Reporting Act claim in the process. The most damaging mistake in amateur searches is confusing an arrest record with a conviction record. An arrest means police detained someone. A conviction means a court found them guilty. Reporting an arrest that never produced a charge as criminal history is defamatory, and under the FCRA it is illegal when used for employment, housing, or credit decisions. Read the disposition field. If it says no charge is filed, dismissed, or acquitted, that is not a criminal record. Run this workflow once on someone you already know. A family member, a former coworker, or yourself. Compare what the sequence surfaces against what you expected to find, and you will see exactly where your old searches were leaving gaps. That awareness is the real deliverable of this guide. Every investigator leans on a core toolkit. The National Sex Offender Public Website covers free nationwide searches. PACER opens federal case files, while state repositories hold county-level criminal histories. Aggregators like Been Verified and TruthFinder compile data across jurisdictions, but their results must always be checked against official sources. Trust matters. Government portals, county clerk offices, and state police repositories carry the most accurate records. Third-party services move faster, but their data can be stale or incomplete. Serious investigators cross-reference every finding with FBI identity history summaries and verified court documents, making sure each detail holds up under scrutiny. This next part is the one most people skip. Failed background checks almost always come down to the same 4 errors. They look small on paper, yet they turn a careful investigation into a liability. Before you publish a single finding, learn what these mistakes look like. Mistake 1. Searching a single state portal when your subject has lived in 4. A clean result in Florida means nothing if the felony sits in Georgia. Skip PACER on top of that, and you will miss federal convictions for wire fraud, trafficking, or tax evasion that never surface in any state database. The quieter mistake is the most dangerous. Treating an aggregator hit as confirmed truth, or reporting an arrest as if it were a conviction. An arrest is an accusation. A conviction means a judge signed off. Blur that line in writing, and you have handed someone a defamation claim. Verify every record against the primary court portal, then step into the workflow that ties it all together. Before you start searching criminal records online, know that privacy laws shift by state and country. The Fair Credit Reporting Act limits how this information can be used for employment, housing, or credit decisions. Stick to official government sources or accredited background check services, and never use the data to harass, defame, or discriminate. Online criminal records are not always complete or current. Databases carry outdated entries, sealed cases, and mistaken identities caused by similar names. Before acting on any finding, confirm it directly with the court of jurisdiction. Treat every record as a starting point, not a verdict, and bring in a qualified attorney whenever someone's reputation or livelihood is on the line. This distinction matters before the next step. List every state and county your subject has lived in for the past 10 years. Addresses from resumes, social profiles, and property records all count. Criminal records live where the crime was charged, not where the person lives now. Miss a jurisdiction, and you miss the record. For each jurisdiction, open the statewide court portal. Search the full legal name plus common variations. Michael, Mike, Mikey. Then jump to the PACER case locator and filter across all 94 federal districts with the criminal case box checked. Follow that with NSOPWA. Gov for sex offender registry hits. Close the loop by running the State Department of Corrections inmate locator to confirm current custody. When a hit returns, match the date of birth, middle initial, and last known address against the case file. 2 John Smiths in Dallas County is not a theory, it is Tuesday. Confirm the match and document the case number. Here is what trips people up even when they follow this exact sequence. Here is your assignment. Pick one subject you have already searched casually. A neighbor, a contractor, a name from an old dating app. Run the full 5-step workflow on them tonight, start to finish. Work the county clerk portal first, then the state repository, then federal PACER. Finally, cross-check with an aggregator. Write down which system surfaced which record, and which one caught something the others missed. This next piece changes how everything before it works. You will find gaps. A misdemeanor the state site buried. A federal case no county clerk tracks. A sealed entry an aggregator still quietly lists. Those gaps are the real lesson, and they point to where we go next. Drop a comment describing which database surprised you. Subscribe for the next investigation. We move from criminal records into civil court filings, and the patterns hiding inside lawsuits. That is where the real stories live.